Morning.
Morning.
Hi, good morning everyone. This is Sally Rogerson for SR Education, and I'm lucky enough this morning to have been asked to do a takeover for American Salon on their live Facebook page. So welcome to all of you. I'm actually going to be working on some graduation this morning. I feel like bobs are very, very popular in the salon right now, and so that's what I really wanted to concentrate on. Before I get started, I'll just tell you a little bit about me and an introduction. I really absolutely love and support the salon stylist, and my biggest passion is commercial salon hair, maybe with a little bit of a twist depending on your clientele. My history is from Vidal Sassoon. I was the Senior Creative Director in the Vidal Sassoon Academy in Santa Monica for about 12 years, and prior to that I was in the London Academy and schools. And even though that precision and that Sassoon training is very much a big part of my life, I would say since I left about 5 years ago and started my own education company called SR Education. My work has moved and transitioned into being what I prefer to call modern salon work. And what I really do with my business, SR Education, is try and support salon stylists, try and make hair cutting easier, simpler, and more efficient, because I feel like nowadays, it's kind of hard out there. It's very difficult to build a clientele and keep a clientele. It's extremely competitive out there. So I'm really all about trying to, just make hair cutting simpler. What I wanted to share with you today is working with more of a bob type haircut. This can be done on any length. It can be right down to more of a lob kind of length, or it can come all the way up through into this shorter kind of chin length through here. So I have a fabulous model with, I would say, kind of medium to finer density and texture. If I'm doing any kind of graduation or any kind of bob, then the first thing that I'm going to look at in the consultation is the hairline. So you can see from her hairline, she does have a hairline that grows in slightly. I do need to be careful of that, but overall it's pretty flat. I'd say the very first section was a little bit jumpy, but generally overall it's pretty flat. So that's a good thing. I always check that hairline in the underneath before I get started on any kind of graduated bob. I think the next thing that you want to think about is the profile, and think to yourself, what does this client need on the side profile? What kind of angle are you going to do? Are you going to do something a little bit more triangular? Are you going to go a little bit more square? Are you going to go a little bit more rounded? So think about that, because your graduation in the back, you need your weight to sit in that back area just under the occipital bone, and then where is it going to fall into the sides? That graduation becomes your length in the sides. So you have to kind of think the whole thing through to the end and kind of work backwards. So that's the biggest thing that I try and think about before I start. And then the next thing I want to think about is, am I going to put in an outline first and then graduate it? Or am I going to go straight in and do the graduation in tight? That decision-making process is really decided by many things. Number one, what's the overall look that you want to achieve? Do you want more of a bob with graduation, or do you want more of a graduated bob? Is the graduation needing to be really tight and into the neck for this client, or do I need to keep some length in there first? So that's really decided by the look overall that you want to achieve. Also the hairline and the growth patterns. Also the profile. Do you want to give someone more coverage through here, or do you want to show off their bone structure? And also I think the most important thing is the confidence and the personality of the client. Do they want to be exposed, or do they want to be covered a little bit more? So that's the main thing that I think about. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to put in a little bit of the outline first, and then I'm going to very gently graduate it afterwards. So to start with, the way I'm going to start this haircut is really working with just a line technique. And you know, she is a little bit lighter through here because also there is you know, an element of this bleach and tone and it being a little bit more blonde. It will go slightly transparent. So what I want to do through here is strengthen it up. I'm going to actually put in a little bit more of that outline shape first, just to see how the hairline is going to behave, and then I'll kind of work from there. So coming through the comb right now, obviously you can work freehand as well, and you know, you can see from a sectioning point of view, I can take quite thick sections just because the hair is quite transparent. I have a tendency to keep the head up. For me personally, you know, I did work with the head down for many, many years, but I have changed. I think it's good during your career to be able to be flexible and try new things. So I prefer to cut with the head upright when I do a line, because I feel like that's how the client wears their hair. They walk around with their head upright. So I prefer to just cut it with the head up and let the hair fall where it wants to be. And really cutting a line is all about just trying to make everything come down and be cut on the same plane. I'm not at eye level, but I'm gonna try and get down to eye level, so I've got to kind of bend down a little bit. If you have the opportunity for your chair to come up a bit more, obviously that's good too. Now, you can work side to side. Normally in a demonstration situation when I'm filming, I tend to cut all of one side just because it's easier for you guys to see that way. So I'm going to continue through with my sections. My sections should mirror my cutting angle. So as I start to go through into the side area, can you see my sections will start to go all the way through to the front? And you know, this has just been in a clip, so I need to make sure that I wet that down as I go along. It's kind of fine hair, so I have to make sure that I'm not marking it with clips. So all I'm going to do is keep going through here and follow that line. I'm right-handed, so I have to be extremely careful with my left elbow, and I have to keep my left elbow down to keep my comb down. If I lift my elbow up, then my comb is going to start to round upwards. So this is what I have to be careful with myself personally. As I go through into the sides, I have to be very careful to you know, really make sure I'm tapping around the ear. And my sections are going to go all the way through. I think it's a really good idea to try and have a comb that is a slightly different color to the hair as well. I see a lot of people trying to do a one-length line through the comb, and they're doing it with maybe a dark or a black comb, and the hair's black as well. It's really hard to see. If you have a contrasting comb, whatever color, I think that that's really going to help you to see the hair better. Now, as I get through into the sides, I will start to tap. I'm going to make sure that my elbow is down. I'm starting to turn the chair around, but I would actually be walking around and trying to cut it in front of my eyes. I'm also letting the hair fall down in its natural position. I'm not forcing it back in any way. And then over the ear, really tapping. I'm closing my scissors and then really tapping around the ear. And it's not just over the ear, it's behind the ear as well. All of this area behind the ear is sometimes the area that you get more of a hole than over the ear. So I close my scissors and I feed the hair through the comb. As I come through, I can take a bigger section. She does have some previous layers in there, and also she does have, you know, that lighter hair. So that's why my sections are a little bit thicker. If I was working with denser hair, my sections would probably be thinner, but you always just have to think to yourself that you can see your guide. If you cannot see your guideline, then you definitely do not want to cut. I never cut a bob 100% when it's wet. I always try and cut it to about 80 or 90%, because after the blow dry, you want to still be able to actually check it. Because there's always some things that move around, and that's kind of really important to think about. Okay, I'm now going to move through into a graduation on this side. As I said, you can totally do both sides together at the same time. I prefer, when I'm filming, just to do one whole side, because it's, as I said, a little bit easier for you guys to see. So I'm going to go through now and graduate. The biggest thing here is that I still want to maintain some weight in the outline. So I prefer to really think about where I can start my graduation. So for example, if I start my graduation here at the bottom, I'm thinking to myself, am I going to cut into the outline? And obviously the answer is yes. I do not want to cut into this outline, however. So therefore, I am actually going to section a little bit higher. Think to myself, okay, how about now? Am I going to cut into my outline now? Yeah, I'm still going to cut into it a little bit. So I just keep moving up until I get to a point where I know I'm not going to interfere with that outline. With this kind of technique, I'm looking for my graduation to be higher in the back, and then it will just slowly disappear, and it should stop before that hole starts. After that, I'm going to keep it more one length. So I'm going to start now just above the occipital bone with a more horizontal diagonal section. And the hardest thing, I think, for me when I was first starting out was how much did you cut from here? It was always kind of a little bit of a mystery. So I just want to share with you my thought process when I'm doing it. I always stand absolutely square to the back wall, so that's a really big thing for me. If I turn around into the corner, I'm going to cut through into the sides. I will then bring the hair all the way up to the top, so I'll comb it all the way up, almost into like a layer situation. What this does is allow the hair from the underneath to drop out, and also it drops out from that side mastoid process as well. So once that's dropped out, I then comb the hair down, so it's graduation, because I want to be building weight. And that's how I know how much hair to cut off. I think the biggest thing is knowing that your first section, you don't have to cut a lot of hair off. And that was always the thing for me. I always felt like I wasn't cutting enough hair off, but you don't need to. So I'm going to comb it up, then I'm going to comb it down, and then I'm going to gently start to graduate. So it's not very much hair at all. Comb that down, make sure that you still have your outline intact, which I do. And I'm going to now change my section angle. So I'm going to start pivoting around like this. I'm not going to finish totally vertical. I am actually going to finish more vertical diagonal, and I'll then move on towards that front area. So my next section is here. And now I'm not going to comb up at all. I'm only going to comb down now. I'm going to come down to the previous section, and also my finger angle is going to start to change. So my next section is there. My third section starts to get even more vertical diagonal, so I'm pivoting as I go. My feet do not change. I'm staying here. I'm combing the hair back into the previous section. The only thing that is changing is my finger angle. Okay, so I'm not moving my feet at all, I'm just moving my finger angle. The hair is coming down to the previous section, and I am following my section angle with my fingers. Everything is mirroring. I'll worry about the outline and doing that finishing work afterwards. So getting a little bit more pivotal, not fully getting to vertical though. That would take out too much weight. Always making sure I'm keeping hold of this one. That's the most important thing. And then as I go through into the front, the side area, I'll just be bringing back, and I'll probably run out of hair. So if you are interested in seeing what SR Education does a little bit more, we have an online virtual classroom. You can go to sallyrogerson.com, and we have a virtual classroom where you can actually watch and participate in and watch all of the theory behind my 10 women's comprehensive haircuts. And that's really a foundation for modern salon work and for your clients. So the 10 haircuts work from long into medium into short. We're also going to be putting our men's work up there as well, starting next year. And I also do live demonstrations every Thursday morning for the members of the virtual classroom. So it's a very affordable membership charge. It's $24.99 a month. So you can become a member and join us every week for live demonstrations. So I'd love to see you there. We also have a lot of other things going on. We go around the country every single weekend doing classes. So again, if you're interested in classes with us, go to sallyrogerson.com, and you can find out, what we do. Instagram, Sally Rogerson, and get in touch. I'd love to see what you guys do as well. So that's my first side. I'm now going to go into the other side and simply put in the whole of the outline again. And then I'm going to go through into the other side, and I'll talk about the body position there as well. So moving through into the other side. Making sure that you are, controlling the comb again. So it's back to the beginning, how you were originally in the first part of the haircut. To be honest with you, I actually enjoy cutting all of one side of a haircut. You don't have to though. If you feel more comfortable going side to side, then that's totally fine. I very much enjoy cutting all types of hair, straight, curly, doing very clean work. I also absolutely love doing more curly hair, more free work, and also I love, that kind of PC layered bob that you're seeing in the salon a lot at the moment. We are actually this morning in a wonderful school in Oklahoma City called Hair Arts Institute, and it's a really fantastic new cosmetology school. It's a beautiful situation. I wish you could see all around the room. And we had a live event last night where we were doing you know, a lot of great models and things. I actually did a very freehand, big kind of curly haircut. That was really, really enjoyable. So SR Education, you know, is really all about doing all types of salon work. I know I'm doing a really clean, structured bob today, but you know, if you're interested in taking any education with us, we do cater to all types of hair texture and density. So thank you very much, Hair Arts Institute, for letting me take over your school this morning. You guys can't see, but we have all of the students here watching. It's a lovely environment to be doing this in. So just taking that line all the way through, and then I'll be doing the graduation on this side also. Just remember with this haircut, you don't want it to go too heavy, you don't want to get too strong a weight line, but on the other hand, you know, this is kind of the look of the haircut. So it's very important to realize that this is strong. If you want to, you can actually, as I said in the beginning, do your graduation first and do your outline second. Coming through into the side now, really tap over that ear, really tap around there. Don't want to get too into that line and make it too strong. Okay, so now into the other side. You can see on this side it's just purely one length, and then the other side has that graduation in already. So what I want to do with the graduation is find out where it stops in that middle area. I'm going to take about an inch section from the first side, clip it away, and then I'm going to push that hair across into the other side. Now, because I'm right-handed, I have to now put the chair down a little bit because I have to be able to lift my elbow up. So the body position on this, I can stretch the neck out a little bit, remembering where I took my first section. Remember, I stood on this back line, so I stand really, really square to the back. And then I have to make sure that I'm lifting my elbow up and really making sure that my fingers are going to mirror my section. And my section and my hands are going to go around like this. I'm working palm to palm, and the other side, you can see the guideline there. The other side tells me what to cut. So I'm going to come up, and then I'm going to come down. This is my guide from the other side. And that's how I get my balance in. I'll continue through with the same sectioning pattern as the first one. You can see my guide through. If my sections get too thick, I will not be able to see what I'm doing. Remembering to start to change my elbow, get my elbow up a little bit higher to mirror my sections on this side. So all the way through into the sides, start to bring this hair back. And continue to lift your elbow up to make sure that you get that nice connection to the other side. You can see the sides are dropping out. Bottom, middle, top. Okay, so that's my other side. I'm now going to go through into this top area. Now, I like to do this top area from many different parting angles. I think it's very popular right now in the middle area, and then it's also very popular as well to do it on more of a side or something that can work from side to side. So, you know, whatever your suitability is on the client, I think that that's really important to think about. If you're gonna do more of a middle parting, you do get a bit more coverage on the sides of the face, but you do draw attention to somebody's features. So if you are aware of someone's features and maybe they're not like super symmetrical, sometimes a middle parting can draw attention to that. Sometimes a side parting can often offset somebody's features. So be aware of that on a parting. I know the middle parting is back and it's super cool and it looks really great on some people, but on other people, sometimes it can really draw attention to flaws in the face. So be aware of suitability for the client. And also, I think more than anything, always just remember that we are in this job to create, but we are also in this job to create satisfaction for our clients, but also we get a satisfaction when a client looks really, really good. So, you know, to me, it's about trying to find that suitability, but also giving them something that's a little bit more personable and, you know, really suits and fits their personality and also their fashion style. Okay, now the most tricky area on this haircut is in the crown area. That's why I sectioned the crown out. I sectioned it out through there originally in the top area so that I could deal with that a little bit more afterwards. You can see she actually has quite a strong growth pattern through there. If you were concerned about it a lot, you could actually section that out and do it after the blow dry if you wanted to. So I'm gonna go through and cut it now, but what I'm gonna do is make my tension super, super, super loose. So really, really, really loosen it up. Because of that, I'm gonna go away from my YS Park SR Education comb. This is a very tight tension. You can see, you know, it has that prong missing and that helps it to section off, but it's a very, very tight comb. I'm gonna move through into a larger tooth comb. This is gonna give me a lesser tension, a looser tension. You can't just pull everything tight. You can't just pull everything the same way. You have to really try and listen to the hair. So I'm gonna go through now on this side and continue through in diagonal sections. I will very, very, very gently, you can see how loose that is. I'm gonna very gently connect this in, but I will be checking it after I've dried it. So just coming through, and can you see my sections are more diagonal and super, super, super gentle with that connection. I don't feel very satisfied when I cut this. I don't feel like, you know when you pull it and you cut it really tight and it feels like really good? It's not like that at all. It feels kind of messy, you know, it doesn't feel very clean, but it's important because this crown's gonna spring up a lot after the blow dry. And then I will still have some hair falling over. That's from my outline, which again, I'll check in a moment. So you can see these straggly hairs here. That's just from the top horseshoe falling over my outline. So I can check those in as well. And then I'll go to my other side. You will find that quite a lot of this haircut is done in the checking at the end. So just gently bringing that hair in, diagonal sections through, super loose on that crown, like it's not even looking clean. Okay, so that is my raw shape that I've put in through here. As I said, I definitely need to just dry it really, really quickly. So I'm going to use, I'm just going to use a Wyeth Park flat wrapping brush. So this is the Tiger lap brush. And I'm going to do a wrap blow dry first of all. So I'm just going to wrap the hair around the head, and then I'm just going to turn the ends under very gently. I think if you use a mixture of a wrap dry and also like a bevel as well, you can get a nice finish on it. I have nothing against a round brush. If I use a round brush, then I tend to use the Wyeth Park Tiger and Carbon Tiger brush, and just very gently smooth it under. I tend to use this more if I need a bit more of a finish on the hair. The only thing I do not do when I'm doing this haircut is I don't really try and give it too much root lift. I try and keep the roots a bit more flat because I want to be able to check the haircut. So I'm going to dry it really, really fast for you guys. So I'm going to turn the dryer on now and just get it done. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is show you how to do the cleaning part of it. And again, I'm going to work with kind of a looser comb. I do always want to go through and do this outline very, very strongly afterwards. And I do also really like to stand the client up to check it at the very, very end. So the first thing that I'm going to do is work on this graduation. All I want to do is kind of blend it slightly through here. So I'm going to come back through and use a dusting technique just to lighten that graduation. If you prefer, you can also go through and do a little bit of pointing through here as well. It depends really on, you know, the texture. It also really depends on the color, I find, as well. Sometimes I'll get like some spotty areas through there, maybe from previous colors. So I have to just be careful from that point of view, making sure I visually blend it and just bring it all together. And you can see just that little bit of kind of pointing and stuff has just really brought the whole thing together and made it a little bit cleaner. And then coming through, obviously, you can start to stretch the neck around, and I'm going to come through and start to work just with the tips of my scissors and really kind of come in and start to clean up this area. And that's really how I bring it all together at the end. It's never 100%, as I said, when it's dry. I always need to kind of do my finishing work when it's wet. So coming through and just cleaning everything up. If you don't feel too comfortable here on the neck, then you can always still go through your comb at that point. I don't really go through my fingers too much because it can definitely create a few holes in there. But you know, it's a heavy technique, that's just how it is. But I do want it to kind of softly blend and have a really nice support and a graduation through there. So now I'm just going to go through onto my other side, do my checking, and also go through my other side. And I'll stand her up as well and show you how I would check it on the other side. I just really wanted to do something this morning that I know is, you know, kind of popular in the salon and something that we get asked for a lot at the moment. If you prefer to have your outline a little bit looser, you could be using more of a pointing technique, more of a freehand technique if you preferred as well. I know some people like to do this as well with a clipper or a trimmer, and that's totally fine. It's up to you how you want to achieve your end result and your outlines. And you've got to make it right for your clientele as well. And just coming through, lifting that area up, doing a bit of pointing like I did on the other side as well. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I want to thank you again just for watching this technique with me, and I also want to thank American Salon for letting me do this little takeover this morning. Very much appreciated the SR Education American Salon relationship, so thank you to American Salon for having me here and allowing me to do this live event. So again, I'm Sally Rogerson. My company is SR Education, and we provide, you know, quality, modern, efficient salon education. We always really pride ourselves on teaching stuff in our class that you can use in the salon, that will earn you money, which will keep your clients interested and happy. and this was my take on a bob with graduation today, and I wanted to share this with you because in class recently I've really had a lot of people requesting, asking me how to actually do this. For my final side and also for my balance check, I'm going to actually have my model stand up. Do you mind standing up for me? And then if you can just put your hands on here and stand really straight for me. So this is really in the salon, what you should be doing is making sure that you stand the client up and do a final check. The reason for this is that you want to be at eye level, and you also sometimes don't know how the client has been sat in the chair. She might have had her legs crossed, she might have been you know, a little bit off with her neck or something like that. And I think it's important to do your final checks with the client stood up. Just turn to the side a little bit again. I always check this kind of bob at the side, so kind of comb the hair back and then comb it down, and that's when I check these side areas. Obviously, you always want to spend another 3 hours on it, right? But I want to just want to share a quick technique with you guys, and I wanted to just show you my finished look and also dress it for you really quickly. Whenever I'm doing any kind of dressing work, I prefer to use like a Mason & Pearson or a boar bristle brush. So I'm just going to get in there and comb the hair around, make the hair move a little bit. I'm going to push it all to one side, see if there's any little bits and pieces that are falling on one side. Then I'm going to bring it all the other way and do the same thing. Also, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of like a serum or a shine in there, but nothing too dramatic, just to get the flyaways off. Whenever you're applying product or doing anything with a little bit more dressing, I think just get the product in first, start to work the texture in, and then kind of brush it in. I'm loving girls wearing their hair off their face at the moment as well. That looks super cool. So this is a great haircut that can be dressed very strongly back off the face with still some drama at the sides. It can also just be more of the hair flip, you know. I'm guilty of that, a little bit of a hair flip. So it works really well for that. Or it can be worn very, very clean and very strong, center parting, side parting. Just really brushing that hair down, getting that finish. Okay, so that is going to be my finished look for today. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you would like to you know, join our SR Education virtual classroom. I do these live events every Thursday morning in our virtual classroom. You are able to watch it back again as well. So we do all sorts of hair, something creative, you know, blow dries. We also do theory lectures, long hair. So really try and cover the whole gamut of techniques and education. So thank you again so much. My name is Sally Rogerson, and this was an American Salon Facebook Live takeover. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.